This is the Action Movie Guys podcast, bringing you action movie reviews from across the decades, plus box office numbers and insight like never before. And now, your hosts of the Action Movie Guys podcast, Alex and Nate.
Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Action Movie Guys podcast, episode 289. We're starting a brand new franchise, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the 90s, all the way up to the cartoons and the CGI versions and all that good stuff. I'm your host, Alex Figueroa. My co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
All right, Nate. So today we have a great guest. We have a guest in our midst, someone that's been listening to the podcast. So this is pretty fun. I'll let you introduce them.
Yeah, so we have another guest. This is someone, he does have a YouTube channel, which we, of course, will let him plug at the end of the show here. His name is Nick. He is one of our most loyal listeners, and I only know that because he's given us feedback. Him and one other person that let us know, hey, this was good. I like this. Nick, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let them know where they could find you.
I am Nick of Movie AV Impulse. That is my Instagram name, and my YouTube name is just simply Movie AV Impulse.
There you go.
All right.
So follow him on Instagram, follow him on YouTube. He does great content as well, but he's going to be joining us on our show to score a movie the way we do it, and y'all already know. So Alex, let's go ahead and proceed.
Yes. So, all right. So we're going to continue. You guys know, and when you guys are listening to us, we're going to do financials first, then Rotten Tomatoes, and then go right into our actual reviews of these movies. And I have a feeling we haven't seen these things in ages. So with that said, let's go into some financials because I looked this up and man, this is funny. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in 1990 budget was $13.5 million. Okay? Worldwide for $202 million. Now, that's a successful movie. Nate, take it away. What did you think of those numbers?
Yeah, guess what? For a while, I think it did change at some point, but for a long time, it was the highest grossing independent film of all time because it wasn't a studio release. So, yeah, it was a huge success. Not surprising. I mean, this is after the 80s cartoon was already out. The comic, of course, came out in 84. Then you get cartoon, toys, games, then this movie. So it's not surprising that it was a huge success. And of course, you said 202, and that's in 1990 money. So let's you jumped that quite a bit here for inflation. It was a big success.
Yeah. Nick, what do you think?
Oh, well, I've seen this in the movie theaters. I was 8 when this came out. I was heavy into the cartoon, as we all were. And man, I still remember the sticky floor and the one big screen, because the movie theater we went to was just one big screen and a whole bunch of stadium seats. And it was just nasty popcorn and sticky floors, but I absolutely loved it. So I'm really going to try to put my bias aside, but I can't promise anything because this movie really holds a special place in the 90s, 80s, 90s kids' heart.
Don't worry about it because you're not the only one that's going to be biased. This dude Nate is going to give this like 5s across the board. You're not the only one. Nate is going to be so biased. Everyone should know that already. This is going to be 5s all over the place.
I'm going to call this bias honesty. Because it's true feelings.
Letting you know right now, Nate is going to be the other one that's going to get 5 alerts. Look, in terms of this movie, I never saw this movie in the theater. Because I'm going to be honest with you, at the time, my parents never let me go to the theater because of money situation and all that. I mean, if you were raised in a Spanish family, going to the theater is like, hell no, you ain't going to the theater. It's expensive. So I saw this on VHS, which I still own, the black cover with the green. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. The black. That's the original VHS version. So I saw it in that and I fell in love with the movie. I was like, oh my God. And that's how I saw Secret of the Ooze also on VHS. But with that said, we take care of the financials. Let's get right to the Rotten Tomatoes scores. Nate, what did the critics and audience have to say about the first Ninja Turtles movie?
Yeah, so this is one of those where they're pretty far apart. They do not have the same opinion of this. Critically, this sits at a 42% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I know for a fact a lot of the early reviews were that it was too violent, it was too dark for a kid's movie. So I think a lot of that is factored in. Audience score, though, significantly higher, 81%. So, and this is not surprising that it has those two scores. I could definitely see where the critics are coming from, especially early on. And even modern, I could understand it, but fans, they're all over this movie and they enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally, I could see it from the critics' point of view on that. But you know what? It doesn't surprise me. We did so many episodes.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
Not with the critics.
It doesn't surprise me either.
Nick, what did you think of the Rotten Tomato scores?
Well, I could agree with the audience, except mine would probably be more like a 95%. Okay. But the critics, like he said, there was a lot of dark, parents were complaining. I mean, and my dad, I grew up with my stepfather was Spanish. And I know what you're talking about, Alex. He was super strict, and he did not know that this movie was going to be so weapon oriented, fight oriented, because he's thinking of the cartoon where they. So I can see where the critics are coming from. It's dark, it's scary, it's not for kids, kind of like
violent. They say damn 3 times.
I mean, it has some dark tones to the film, but we're going to talk about that storyline. All right, let's get right into our main review. All right, lead character, Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, Raphael. Nate, take it away, because I already see you glistening.
Listen,
we all know.
Listen, we all know, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. 5 out of 5. Absolutely 5 out of 5. And let me tell you something. And I'm sure we'll all get into this because it's just a natural part of our conversation. Same thing happened with X-Men. Everyone has a favorite. Yeah. I am a Raphael guy all the way. 100%, always have been, always will be. And it is my middle name, but that's not the reason why. It just so happened to be that way. It just worked out, right? So I always love Raphael, and he is the main he has the most storyline out of the Turtles in this movie. So I could understand if he's not your favorite. Maybe you are like a little let down because the other ones do, especially I feel like Leonardo, for being like the leader of the group, he has the biggest backseat in this film. Michelangelo still gets to get his jokes in pretty much. Donatello feels kind of odd in this compared to most others because he just feels like other Michelangelo. Like he's mostly just jokey, and it's not the super smart like version that came later. But anyway, still love him. Corey Feldman did the voice for him. Great. I thought all the voice acting was great. But Raphael's my dude. I love his storyline. I think they nailed him. His whole personality. He's the one who hurts the most when Splinter gets taken away. He's the one that wants to do everything alone and gets beat up on the rooftop by all the Foot Clan. He's the one that they need the most, when it's like we can't do nothing without Raphael. Like it's the whole group dynamic that I think they nailed it. So it's a 5 out of 5 for me. I mean, I don't have no issues with any of it.
All right, Nick.
Come on, 5 out of 5. What can you say? Donatello is my favorite, always has been since the cartoons, but it's because he had the bow staff. And when I was growing up, I was a little bit shorter than everybody else until I kind of grew into myself. So I figured if I had a bow staff with the length, I could beat people up with the bow staff. So I kind of just followed Donatello like all my life throughout that. Now, I know what you're saying, Nate. He is not really like he is portrayed in the cartoon, but still, everybody in this, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, they're all just phenomenally done. Costumes are phenomenally done. Let's give a shout out to Jim Henson's company for that. And you have to remember, these guys go off of memory. They can't see out of those things. So that's, to me, it's a 5 out of 5 for the team. They all band together at the end. We'll get into that for storyline, but 5 out of 5. Come on, Nate, I'm with you. Alex?
I'm gonna go with the 5. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna go with the 5 on this one. Yeah.
You're not gonna let us down yet.
I have a feeling if I say something below, Nate is leaving the show. I already can see that. 'Cause this is like,
I'll be following
you. So pretty much, I agree with all of you. My favorite Ninja Turtle is Michelangelo, because I feel like me and Michelangelo is the same personality, the goofball of everything. But yeah, I agree with everything. Michelangelo is just so funny in the movie.
He's hilarious.
I love with the nunchucks. Oh, he's mad funny. I love when he's eating the pork rinds.
Pork rinds.
The pork rinds.
No, when he does the impressions, when he's doing like the Casablanca. But yeah, he's the funniest.
He's so good. And then he sees April O'Neil and he gets all like April. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I like the dynamics of all of them. And it's funny. I never knew Corey Feldman did the voice of Donatello, which is pretty interesting. It's very interesting as much. But I agree with you guys in this sense, though. For suits, I think they could bring back the suits and just remodel them in terms of like for the actors to see through them and fight in whatever, more than the CGI. I mean, I never seen the CGI movie, but seeing the way they look, I'm like, I kind of prefer what we got in this movie because you see more detail in their faces and all, like the acting. I mean, I know they're voiced, but you see the expression still on the face when Splinter get caught. They all look hurt. So, I mean, I liked it. I love it. I love it. 5 across the board. Main villain, my man Shredder and the Foot Clan. All right, Nick, take it away. Shredder.
I mean, come on, look at the official first, because when we first see Shredder, he's not walking through the warehouse. He's actually sitting watching April on the news channel, throws a knife. But 5 out of 5. Come on, Shredder was just crazy looking. That suit, that costume, that red glare of just the suit alone, all those the spikes that he had on everywhere. I mean, he reminded me of something like what was it, Legion of Doom out of WWF?
Yeah.
Coming down with the spike, or were they Road Warriors? I can't remember what their name was. I think it was
They were
Legion
Road
of Doom.
Warriors in WCW. They were Legion of Doom in WWF.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, I mean, that's what just reminded me of, and his presence when he first that music, da da da, and he's walking into the warehouse. I mean, the introduction alone is that's a 5 out of alone, just a proper introduction to him.
All right, that's a 5. All right, neat.
Well, I agree. It was. I was gonna say that. I was gonna say his intro scene. I love the knife throwing scene where he's just like pissed off, but him walking into the room, dun dun dun, and the camera, even the camera movement. This movie's way better made than people give it credit for.
Yes.
That whole intro is great. He got the freaking sparkle. My man's is wearing like sparkly pajamas. He got spiked shoulders. He got like a garbage bag looking cape, but it looks great on screen. To translate, that's a hard character to translate, and I think they nailed it. A Japanese guy, he's Japanese. They didn't do nothing they didn't change him. You know what I mean? And then as far as the character, I mean, he has ties to the Turtles because of Splinter. So already there's that, right? He cut Splinter's ear when he was a little rat and he killed his master. I love that tie. And then as far as just as a villain, he's not just the leader of the Foot Clan. He freaking beats all 4 of the Turtles by himself when they're fighting on the roof. Like, he was giving them the work. And I love the way that whole scene is edited. It's so 90s. It's just like perfect, where they're each going in and then they look sweaty because they just can't even beat him until my man Splinter shows up and evens the odds. It takes 5 people to beat him. If that's not a good villain, then I don't know what is. So I also give him a 5.
Hands down a 5. I mean, the way Nick described him is like the way I remember him as, like, they did that camera zoom when he looks with the thing,
like panning downward.
Yeah, and it just looks so cool because he had that helmet. I was like, I always wanted that helmet, the Shredder helmet, because it looks so cool. And I mean, I agree the fact that like even like he runs the Foot Clan, because I mean we could talk about that too, like, right? He runs the Foot Clan, and then he has the bullhead guy that they
Tatsu.
Tatsu.
Him, like, he's like
gets all mad and beats up all the recruits.
Yeah,
he just growls at people.
And you know what's funny? Like, the Foot Clan always remind me of those stupid putties from Power Rangers. You know what I'm talking about? Like, the ones that they get
their fodder to get beat up.
Yeah, they like pawns. But yeah, I agree. Like, Shredder has to be one of the best portrayed on screen that you see. Because just like Nate said, like, the dude takes on the entire heroes. Like, on one, like, okay, great. And then the Master shows up and it's like, uh-oh. And then defeats, the Shredder. And you're like, oh, shit. Like, took so many people to beat this guy. And that's what you want in a villain. I mean, we saw so many action movies that the villain gets killed by, like, a volcano, or a rock falls on him, or he gets shot by a mystery bullet. And you're like, oh, God, this is so stupid.
True.
But for a dude to take on 5 dudes.
And the only reason he ends up losing is because of his rage. He sees Splinter. And he's like, I gotta kill this friggin' rat. And he starts charging at him. He makes a mistake. Otherwise, he probably would have beat up Splinter too. I don't know. Splinter's old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or would he? See, to me, I always saw Splinter as Yoda.
Yeah.
Like, you think you could defeat Yoda, but when you go up against Yoda, you're like, oh shit, because he whips out that Taquito stick, and you're like, oh damn. and it's like, you're pretty much done. You're like, oh damn. Like, you should have not woken the beast within the Splinter. So anyway, 5 across the board on that. Okay, action. Nate.
All right. I'll be realistic. Those were realistic. Those were realistic scores, but let's just say we'll come back down to earth. There are limitations here as far as action is concerned. Obviously, as Nick pointed out, these suits not the easiest to function in. However, I will say, for being as difficult to maneuver as they were, the guys in them did an amazing job in the fight scenes.
Yes.
I would say it's like top tier martial artistry in the sense of they are not just loose and, normal without the... I know Ernie Reyes Jr., I think he was Donatello, as a matter of fact, in this movie, in the suit, who he played in the second movie. But you had like really good martial artists in there. I love the Raphael fight on the roof when he's pissed off and he just goes up there. I mean, my dude takes out quite a bit of them by himself for a while, but then he just gets overwhelmed. Then they fall through the roof. Then they're in the antique shop. And then that fight, it has a good mix of actual fighting and violence. And then the Turtles humor, right? Like you get the cymbals crashing, you get the fish tank thing, like they mix it in. You have to, because this essentially is a kid's movie.
Cartoon, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I think they did a great job. I love that action scene. The final fight is one of my favorites. It's a little short, but again, you're not going to get these epic, super long Jean-Claude Van Damme level martial arts scenes because you do have these guys in these big bulky turtle suits. There's limitations. I gave the action a strong 3, but I personally, even though I love it, like this is not, and it's not a lot. There's not like nonstop action fights. There's the little one in the subway that's pretty short when Raphael saves April. And then of course there's the one at the end, and then there's that one at the house. And that's pretty much it. So it's a 3, but it's still really well done.
All right, Nick.
I'm going to go a little different with Nate on this one. I'm going to give it a 4. And here's why. I do look at the fact of how hard it was to maneuver in those suits, and everything was done off of memory. So you have to remember, these guys are tired. They're taking the helmets off. They're memorizing where people are, what their movements are, and then putting the helmet back on, filming. So for what they were able to do, to me, was just mind-blowing, especially with just a little bit of action. If you really break it down, we got about 25 minutes out of the movie for action. So, and I don't know if you knew this, Nate, but the guy who plays Raphael plays Kino in part 2.
Oh, so he was, okay, Ernie Reyes was in
the
that
first
suit.
one.
Okay.
So, yeah, so he was in the Raphael suit, yes. I couldn't remember his name, but yep. But just for me, the action, I remember being a kid and just my eyes were glued. And even when I rewatched it again for the 1900th time, I was still glued to the TV every time those action scenes came on. So I got to give it a 4.
Right on.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nick on this one. I gave it a 4. I was all up in it, bro. I remember myself as a kid watching this on VHS, and I was like really into it, got really emotional when the emotional spots starts to kick in, even with the fights. Like when Raphael started to get his ass beat, I started to get my eyes watery, and I was like, holy shit. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not that young kid no more. But you start to feel for it. And that's the whole point of these movies, right? Like, regardless of like how young you are or how older you are, you remember where you are when you're watching these movies. And regardless, and based off of these fighting sequences, they did a tremendous job. Like, I didn't know they didn't see through the damn thing until you guys brought it up. And if that's the case, then damn, that shit is pretty good, because Raphael was tearing dudes up. And if he was blind, that's the It Man. Everyone's It Man up in the suits. Like, but anyway, look, I love the fights. Shredder's fights, all the fights were all fun. I always like the fun comedic stuff, and Raphael and Michelangelo doing stupid stuff, spinning the
Keep practicing.
Yeah, and I love that stuff.
The
Remember when he goes,
nunchuck guy?
Yeah, and he's going. I always love that stuff, and because of that, they take the serious and then they add the cartoon elements to it to make you feel more family friendly. I have to give it a 4 because it's very thought out, these action sequences. And I feel like the movies that we're seeing now don't have that thought out. It was just like, okay, we're giving you that brutality fights. We're going to give you like as much as, but they don't think of like the broad spectrum of this is a family friendly movie. So let's give them that Turtles feel to it while trying to give you the realism of the world that we're trying to build. And I like that. I thought it was really good. So I give it a 4. Nate gave it a 4. Nate gives it a 3.
I will say one bonus point here that they actually use the weapons, even though like obviously Leonardo's not slicing people's heads off or anything like that, because you're going to see in the future movies that happens less frequently, where they actually, especially the next movie, because of the complaints of the violence, they don't really use the weapons. It's mostly in that fight scene, but like Leonardo will, like when he throws them up in the air and uses them to like do a kick and stuff. Because again, you can't show them people cutting people up, but
you could, but
you could, but then it's not a PG movie at that point.
And he's the only one that actually sliced Shredder.
Yeah. That's right.
So, you know what I mean? I mean, you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah. All right. So with that said, 3, 4, 4.
Sorry,
All right,
buddy.
let's get into the storyline. Nick, take it away. What'd you give the storyline?
Okay, here we go again. I'm sorry, guys, but it's got to be a 5 for me, especially watching as a kid. It was so heartfelt. I mean, so when I was 8, I literally did cry when they came back to the sewer. The whole sewer is just like destroyed. Splinter's gone. We all know who took Splinter because we saw the Foot Clan follow him into the lair. And I remember crying and looking at my dad like, is he gone? Did they kill him? Like, I'm asking all these questions. Not knowing, but the storyline itself, how they connected with April by saving him, saving her. Raphael leaves his side behind, so now he's gonna go hunt it down. Everything just intertwined together, and it was kind of like their own storyline. And like you said, Nate, Shredder having that tie to the Turtles, it just made everything so interesting. And then, like, where did they get all these kids that just hanging out in the warehouse, future recruits? No cops were ever dispatched to this warehouse.
Nope.
This thing is pumping 24/7.
It's got to be in the Bronx somewhere.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, it's gotta be. When you get to the outside, it's all boarded up. You don't see anything at all. Then you go inside and there's this huge abandoned building, there's skateboarders smoking, little 7-year-old, 8-year-old playing pool, smoking a cigar. I was dying like now looking at it. But I remember walking out of the theater and my father starts yelling at me in Spanish. You better not be doing that. I'm like, okay, I don't know what you're saying, but whatever. I ain't gonna do it.
That's the same.
So,
that's the same.
yeah, 5 for me.
That's the same place they use in Rumble in the Bronx.
Yeah, that probably is. The big warehouse. Yeah.
The big warehouse. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. I lived in the Bronx. I was like, we never
It was
had
a very
nothing like
Bronx
this.
looking location, I'll tell you that much. When Sam
Pretty
Rockwell
much.
shows up with the 2 boxes of cigarettes, he's like, which one do you want? Oh my gosh. So good.
Good, neat.
Oh yeah, 5. It's 5 out of 5. I don't even know why you're asking me. Yeah, so it's definitely a perfect execution, in my opinion, of the Turtles. Definitely more of the comic book Turtles than the cartoon Turtles. Obviously, a little darker. But even as a kid, I didn't see this in the theater either. I was 3 years old when it came out, so I didn't. If I did see it, I don't remember. I definitely grew up watching it on VHS a lot, and even with the darkness, my parents never really had a problem with me watching it. So I think. Okay, I'll try to be quick. Everything works here. The dynamic of the Turtles themselves and their relationship as like brothers is perfectly executed. Splinter's relationship with them as their mentor, as their leader, as their master, perfectly executed. April O'Neil as a side character, great. She gets a little love story with Casey Jones. Solid, and nothing wrong with it. It's cute. It doesn't overtake anything, but it's there for the adult. I'm assuming that was one of those things that was there for the adults. Like, hey, look, we're adults. There's this thing, and it was pretty well done. And then also Splinter or Shredder, like I had mentioned earlier, his ties to them. You have a great villain story, great hero characters, and it's a nice, tight little. It is small scale, which I like. It is not some big. Foot Clan's not trying to take over the world. They're literally like criminals who steal stuff and they make money that way. It's a criminal organization. It's a gang, essentially. So it's a gang movie. This is not Shredder trying to become the ruler of Earth and, take over. And I like that. It doesn't try to do too much. And I love the New York aspect of it, being born. And, I was there when I was a kid. I love the way, like, even when Raphael's like going to see freaking Critters, when he's coming out the theater, he's like, man, what the heck? And that's like an animal in movie. And he's like, in an animal movie, it's kind of meta, the joke. So I love that. Yeah, 5 out of 5. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you guys. Well,
a little.
Let's be honest here. This movie is a 5. Okay, let's just be honest.
You had me hanging on the screen there. I'm like, wait a minute, what you talking?
Let's be honest. Movie is a 5. I mean, I love the dark tones of this film. I always tell people, if you can tell dark tones very well, then you did a great job. I love when it got serious, and when it was funny, and when the message comes across, like of the whole thing, Splinter's giving his messages to the boys. You're like, well, okay, this is actually pretty good. You have every element, whether it's family friendly, and then you have yourself the adults side of all things. I mean, I love the film. The film is really good. I hope they come out with a 4K soon. I don't understand why they never did. This should be a 4K. This and part 2. But This deserves it. So I'm gonna give it a 5. I think all elements of the entire film is great. I enjoyed watching it, and I'll rewatch it again. But I give it a 5. You guys give it a 5. All right, overall score, Nick.
Overall, I got to do a 5. I'm sorry. I know there's probably some people going crazy, but just everything, the way everything come together, and all of us kind of forgot until Nate brought it up. Casey Jones, man. I mean, he was kick ass in this movie. Him and Raphael's interactions, and then later on, he starts to get into the interactions with Donatello, stuck at the ranch. Everything just was so well put together. And one of my favorite scenes isn't even a violent scene, is the training montage. When they're all in the woods, got that music going, and they're all training each other, and they're working so hard because they know, when they go back, they got to get Splinter back. They got to save him. They got to fight all these Foot Clan. So for me, the overall, it's definitely a 5. I don't think there's an element that could be taken out of this movie and still make it as good as it is to keep your interest. There is not 3 minutes of this movie, let alone 1 minute, that you actually get bored with it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a 5 all day.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna skip Nick, Nate. I'll skip Nate. We don't need to know. We know what Nate's gonna give it. Go ahead, Nate. What you gonna give it?
5.
I didn't see that coming, Nate. I didn't see it coming.
5.
Well, this is one of my top
my
5 favorite films of all time, so it's a 5 for me. I do think within the genre, within the confines, within the budget that they had, it is a perfect film as it is. I agree with Nick. You can't. What in here can you take away or that you have to subtract that they did really poorly? Nothing. Could you add to it? Probably. Then it would be a 6 out of 5. So it could only get better. This is a movie of moments for me. I grew up. I've seen this movie probably more than any other movie, even though it's not my all-time favorite film. I've seen it more than most movies. But again, it's a movie of moments I will never forget the first time I watched it. And like I said, Raphael, he says, damn. I swear me and my sister looked at each other like, what? Like, we're going to get in trouble for watching this because he just said damn. And he says it like 3 times. And I was like, no way. The scene with Casey Jones, where he's like, what are you, some kind of punker? And I quote that whole scene all the time and nobody ever knows what I'm talking about. I just be like, cricket? You got to know what a crumpet is to know about cricket. And then the Jose Canseco bat line, everything about it. I love the whole scene. There's emotional parts, not just Nick, when you mentioned about Splinter getting kidnapped and beat up, you're like, is he dead? I swore the first time I watched it, when he comes in the fire, I'm like, he's dead. This is now he's a ghost. He's talking to them from the other spirit world. And I was sad. And then the turtles are crying. I'm like, oh, shoot. And then that's when the training comes in. And then they go to the house and like, we got to go. And then, of course, one of the all-time funniest jokes, and I'll end it with this, that I love it. And I swear every time I watch this with I have introduced this movie to people like in my age group who they're like, I never watched it. And the joke that I laugh at every single time and no one else laughs at, and I don't know, maybe you couldn't get away with it nowadays, but whatever, I don't care, is when Donatello is talking with Casey Jones and they're in the van, they come back to the sewer and he's like, you're claustrophobic. And he's like, what? No, I'm not claustrophobic. He's like, yeah, you're claustrophobic. And then he goes, I never looked at another dude before. And it makes me laugh every single time. He doesn't even know what it means. It's amazing. 5 just for that joke.
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna give it a 5. I think in terms of the film, I still think it holds up. To be really honest with you, I think the message is still strong in this movie. And I love the dark tones, and I think everything falls in line very well. And the pacing of the movie is great. I don't think it's boring at times. You don't feel the length. There's a lot of emotional parts in this movie. I mean, seeing it at 40, I'm 40 now. Seeing it now, I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of emotions in this kid's movie. Like, as a kid, I'm just like, oh man, it took away Splinter and Raphael got his ass beat. But now watching it, I'm like, oh my God, like this is some dark shit. So I was like, okay, but I liked it. I thought it was really good. So, all right, 5 across the board there. All right, Nick, what is your total points?
Total points is 24. I mean, one off from being a perfect movie.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
Nate.
23. because I was the mean one about the action, but that's okay. I stick by it. It's fine. Yeah, I think it is a perfect movie, but again, like Nick said, for our criteria, it just comes up short from a 25 out of a 25 because we do have to be. I still think all of our points were valid, but we got to be very honest with the action specifically because that is something that is very easy to kind of minus or plus. So 23 for me.
Yeah, I gave it a 24. Me and Nick is there.
I can't believe I had the lowest score, and I love this movie more than anyone on earth. Maybe not.
That's true. I mean, you're a fake fan. That's all.
I'm a fake fan. Officially, not a fan.
You're a fake fan.
What the heck?
Yeah. Oh, that's horrible. All right, Nate, what is coming up next on the podcast?
Okay, so next episode, we are continuing on with our aerial action month. We got Action in the Skies with a little movie called Fly Boys from 2006. We will have Nick again as a guest, so you guys are going to hear him again on the next episode. And then next week, of course, we continue on with our Ninja Turtles franchise with the movie I've probably seen the second most amount of times in my life, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. We'll have a special guest, Evan from Pop Culture 33, joining us for that one. Keep an eye out for those couple episodes coming up.
Awesome. Nick, please plug in your stuff.
You can find me on Instagram at Nick of Movie AV Impulse, and you can find me on YouTube as just plain Movie AV Impulse. Hit that like, subscribe. And if you guys haven't followed these guys by now, I mean, come on, it's one of the best podcasts out there. I listen to it faithfully, as y'all should too. So appreciate it, and appreciate you guys having me on.
No, thank you so much for joining us. Yes. But with that said, you guys want to follow us on our social media accounts, please follow Nate over on Instagram at NateFlix Reviews. Check out the podcast with him and his friends called NateFlix Movie Reviews. Anything action movie, guys, head over to Instagram at Geeks and Flicks. And then, of course, follow our official website at www.geeksandflix.com. We got every episode of the Action Movie Guys podcast there, every episode of Nate's movie reviews, out the theater reviews, and then of course all our live streams and now all my unboxings and 4K reviews and all that good stuff there. Check it out, www.geeksandflix.com. Other than that, I'm your host, Alex Figueroa.
And I am Nate from NateFlix Reviews.
And thank you to our special guest, Nick. Till then, be awesome.
Movie AV Impulse.
There you go, Movie AV Impulse. Till then, be awesome to each other and geek out.